Hey guys, so I don't usually do these kind of predictions, but I figured why not? Let's try and put the Captain America Brave New World box office numbers into some sort of context because we have the opening weekend, both domestically and internationally. And let's play around here and see if we can figure out maybe where it's going to end up with the final numbers. Very hard to do, obviously, but we'll put it into context and we'll see, comparing it to the two other lowest grossing movies in the franchise. Firstly, the lowest, The Marvels, which had an opening weekend domestically of $46 million. These numbers are from Box Office Mojo, of course. And it went on, it collapsed then. Its second weekend fell to $10 million. So total worldwide, 206. It made 84 domestically, but $206 million. So that was the final box office numbers, and that was a big flop. So that wasn't even close to breaking even. So it was a big loss for the studio. And then Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania actually had a reasonably competitive opening weekend domestically, $106 million. The problem is that it just cratered in the second weekend. It fell down quite a bit. So if you look at the second weekend here, it fell down by 69.9% to 31 million. So 106 opening weekend, 31 million second weekend. Its final numbers worldwide were $476 million. So when you include marketing costs, the film didn't break even. Most likely, it didn't break even. So that was another flop. Not as big as The Marvels, of course. Now we come to Captain America Brave New World, which is somewhere in between. So it's made more money than The Marvels on its opening weekend. It's made $88.5 million in the US, which is less than Quantumania. I don't see how this film breaks even. 88 million opening weekend. So that's the opening weekend. And then we look at this. Let's have a look here at the international so far. It's made $92 million. So $192 million worldwide so far. I don't see how it doesn't crater in its second weekend. I think that's most likely what it's headed for. The other issue is that the reviews of this film have been very mixed, it has to be said. I've seen plenty of you in my comment sections and in other comment sections and on social media in general, people saying that they really liked this film and they gave it like a 7.5 out of 10. They generally thought it was enjoyable, sort of like a decent popcorn action movie. And then on the other end of the spectrum, you have people who think that this film is just utter garbage. And then there's a minority, people like myself, who are somewhere in the middle on this, who would give this film maybe a 5.5 out of 10, that kind of thing. And as I mentioned in my review of Brave New World, I think it is a lot better than The Marvels. I think The Marvels is just total junk. I think it's an irredeemably bad movie that is the worst in the Marvel Cinematic Universe franchise. But I think Brave New World is just a fraction better than Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania, which isn't saying too much, to be fair, because that film was just really not good. I just don't see how this film is going to do great. I mean, it needs to be a major tentpole action movie in the franchise. It is, after all, a Captain America movie. I think that original Captain America trilogy with Chris Evans, the first three films, The First Avenger, Winter Soldier and Civil War are probably the three best films in the franchise, arguably. And this needed to be a lot stronger. So I don't see how there's going to be a strong word of mouth for this movie to encourage people to go to see it for the second weekend. I don't know how it recoups its production costs, let alone its marketing costs as well. So if that 88 million, if it was to drop off as much as Quantumania, you're looking at something in the late teens, early 20s, 20 something million, 25 million maybe in the second weekend. And, I'm not saying that that's what's going to be. It could have a little bit of hold, like it could go to 45. But I think the final numbers domestically for the US will be in and around $200 million at best. It may not even make that. It could 170, 180. That's, I mean, I'm just trying to read the numbers from comparing it to the Marvels and Quantumania. That's really all we have to go on. Now, in terms of budget, what's been reported officially is $180 million for the budget of this film, which, when you look at the almost $200 million the film has made at this point, looks pretty good, right? Things look good. Looks like it's made its production budget back. But in actual fact, that $180 million was the original budget for the film. That does not include the costs of the reshoots. Now, we may never know what the actual numbers are, what it really cost, but conservative, educated estimates suggest that the actual budget for the film inflated to $300 million or so. So if you throw on, I guess maybe $100 million for marketing, for some reason that's never included in the budgets for films, which is really frustrating. You know, it would be nice to have the full cost, the full amount for a feature film. But anyway, let's say it's $100 million. So we're up to $400 million. The film's going to have to make that in order to at least break even. And then it's going to have to make more than that, obviously, to generate some kind of a profit. At best, I think Brave New World makes $450 million total. But I could easily see that being under 400. It all comes down to what we see in the second weekend. But as it stands, 88 is just not enough. It's just not enough. But there you go. So guys, let me know your thoughts on where you think Brave New World might end up. I think it's probably going to crater in its second weekend, to be perfectly honest. I just don't see there's anything in there. It's just not a good movie. It's not the worst film I've ever seen now either. And I do think they kind of salvaged a little bit there. They at least made it watchable. But it's just, I could also watch paint dry, you know. And I might be just ever so slightly less entertained with that. All right, then, I'll leave it there for now. Thanks very much for watching. Please share this video. Take care. I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.